Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, let's take an up-close and personal, in-depth look at the very unique 2003 Chevrolet Avalanche Z71. Now this particular Avalanche is actually one of my personal vehicles that I purchased a couple months ago. You'll notice that I filmed a lot of the clips today as far as the exterior is concerned, but I also filmed a bunch of clips on the day that I bought it. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Avalanche that'll cover Avalanche models from 2002 to 2006. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clipping over the performance data, take a brief test drive, and not to mention, show you how the unique GM midgate works, as well as show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior as well as exterior. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. Now this exterior color is known as Victory Red, featuring the upgraded dark charcoal leather interior. The standard Avalanche featured cloth upholstery. The seat automatically recalls the last driver memory setting. Beautiful sound from that 5.3 liter small block V8. This one also features a custom dual exhaust setup. The steering is recirculating ball power assist and a 4-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel with all of your multifunction controls in each spoke. This is actually a new steering wheel that was first introduced for 2003. 2002 models didn't have all these multifunction controls and had a little bit different styled airbag cover. And as far as the gearbox, the standard and only transmission for these first generation Avalanche vehicles was a 4-speed automatic with electronic overdrive and tow mode located down below. Not to mention low gear selection, and a 6-speed automatic wasn't available until 2009. And so we're going to flip on the automatic headlamps, fog lamps, as well as the hazards. The driver's side window is automatic down. And we're going to check the exterior. Call it an SUV, call it a truck, or perhaps even a crossover of sorts, but the Chevrolet Avalanche blends it all. Produced in 2002 to 2013, the Avalanche provided one of the most unique solutions to a problem no one knew existed. Imagine you're in the need of a pickup, say Silverado, but you don't want to give up your SUV. You know from experience that there is a trade-off between looks, ride comfort, and capabilities. Both have their ups and downs, and therefore it really boils down to what you're going to be primarily using the vehicle for. Enter the Avalanche, a vehicle that was designed as the perfect solution. A suburban-based short bed pickup with an innovative collapsible midgate that converts it into a long bed truck. Everyone knows that in a traditional pickup, the bed is not directly connected to the cab. That independent movement of the bed, compounded with other suspension factors, would lead to a characteristically rougher ride. With a 3-piece hydroformed steel frame borrowed from the Suburban, the Avalanche really rides quite smooth. Its level of comfort was unsurpassed in the truck realm at the time. This leads us to design. Neither the Suburban nor the Silverado have any real sporty characteristics. They're built to do their job well. While handsome in their own right, they're not exactly exciting. The Avalanche takes unique to the next level. It was unlike anything else in the Chevrolet fleet. Basically, everything aside from the doors is Avalanche exclusive. Up front, the styling is reminiscent but completely different from the Silverado. The swept-back headlamps have blacked-out housings amongst an all-new grille with chrome center bar. While originally debuting with the rugged body cladding in 2002, those panels became an option between 2003 and 2006. While it can be a pain to maintain, making sure you keep it dressed between details, in my opinion, it's what gave the first generation Avalanche its spark. Vehicles produced without the cladding were almost indistinguishable from the Silverado. With an identical front end, chrome bumpers, doors, etc., the only thing left to distinguish it was the truck bed and the sail panels. With the cladding, the Avalanche received a unique front end, prominent flared wheel arches, signature fog lamps, and more, giving it the appearance of a Baja runner. Even the rear bumper featured these handy step-up platforms. Combined with grip handles in the upper deck, it made hoisting up into the bed a cinch. Unfortunately, without the cladding, you couldn't get the steps, only the same Silverado Suburban chrome bumper. In fact, it was actually completely discontinued with the new Avalanche in 2007 and only recently appeared on the new GM full-size pickups for 2014. Another interesting little tidbit is even if you opted without the cladding, you still got the same tailgate, so it had the partial plastic cladding on the bottom with the Avalanche logo. It kind of looked a little strange in my opinion, but to each his own. Overall, there were two Avalanche models, the 1500 that we have here and the heavier duty 2500, which you don't see quite as often. The 1500 came with the venerable Vortec 5.3-liter small block overhead valve V8, producing 285 horsepower at 5200 RPM and 325 pound-feet of torque at 4000 RPM. The 2500 featured a massive 8.1-liter big block that pumped out 340 horsepower at 4200 RPM and a whopping 455 pound-feet of torque as low as 3200 RPM. They both feature iron blocks with aluminum heads and 2 valves per cylinder. 0 to 60 times for the 1500 was around 8.7 seconds, with quarter-mile times around 16.5 seconds at 83.9 miles per hour. The 2500 differed only slightly, with 0 to 60 times of 8.8 seconds and quarter-mile times of 16.6 seconds at 83.7 miles per hour. Fuel economy was better for the 1500 as you would expect, with a tank capacity of 31 gallons, utilizing regular and leaded, expect between 13 city and 17 on the highway, while the 2500 racks up 11 miles to a gallon in the city and 15 on the highway and hauls a 37.5 gallon tank. The difference in performance boils down to vehicle weight, as the 2500 weighs 964 pounds more than the 1500 thanks to the huge engine and heavier duty suspension. And speaking of suspension, the 1500 borrows the Suburban's independent torsion bar setup up front, while the rear receives a 5-link or multi-link live axle with coil springs and automatic load leveling. This largely benefits the ride quality for the 1500. The 2500's upgraded heavy-duty equipment include a solid rear axle with 2-stage leaf springs for increased payload and towing capabilities. Your spare tire is also located underneath the rear of the vehicle. In addition to your choice of 2- or 4-wheel drive, there are 2 optional suspension packages for the 1500 only. The Z66 on-road setup is for 2-wheel drive models and includes 17-inch wheels, Bilstein front and SOX load-leveling rear shocks, traction control, and rubber floor mats. This Z71 is for the off-roader, again with unique 17-inch wheels, but it has Meteor tires, stiffer springs and shocks, underbody skid plates, a locking rear differential, high-capacity air filter, and also rubber floor mats. Total towing capacity for the 1500 is 8,300 pounds, while the 2500 has a limit of 12,000 pounds. 4-wheel drive models include the slip-sensing auto-track system that features an electronically controlled 2-speed transfer case with 5 selectable modes, including a neutral position if pulled behind an RV. Overall, the Avalanche is a big vehicle. In fact, it's 2.5 inches longer than a Suburban, but it's shorter than a crew cab short bed Silverado by 15.5 inches. One of the most unique Avalanche features is how secure the cargo area is. On top, you have locking storage bins with 3.5 cubic feet of storage each, perfect for loading up ice and drinks for tailgating as there are drain holes in the bottom of each compartment. The bed contains bright illumination for low light working, which also transmits to the side bins so everything can be easily seen at night. If you can imagine a Suburban with the rear cut off, you can imagine how much they needed to stiffen the Avalanche's structure. With a strong C-ring around the back of the cab and sail panels that extend over the sides, they actually make it stiffer, aiding to the already solid feeling. Those extensions were also wind tunnel tested to direct air away from that rear window, eliminating any wind buffeting below 60 miles an hour and preventing any possibility of exhaust reaching the cabin while everything is open. Of course, the highlight of the whole vehicle is the combination truck bed and midgate. The tailgate itself is locking, so with everything in place, your cargo is sealed from both the elements and prying hands. The whole bed is lined in a highly durable composite material called Protec, which is dent and scratch resistant for the most part. You'll also notice the tracks in both the tail and midgate, in addition to heavy rubber mat for increased traction if loaded up an ATV or similar sized vehicle. The bed is either a standard 5' 3" or with the midgate folded down to 8' 1" long bed. Each of the removable panels lock in place simultaneously and weigh about 18 pounds each. They can also support upwards of 250 pounds, so you can definitely sit on it if at a football game or something. I'll show you how to actually operate the midgate a little later in the video. For the 1500 Z71, wheels consist of 17 by 7.5" 5-spoke silver alloys wrapped in 265/70 tires. Brakes consist of 4-wheel, internally ventilated disc brakes measuring 12 by 1 inches in the front and 13 by 1.1 inches in the rear. Of course, ABS and traction controller come standard on this particular model. Stopping distances from 60 miles an hour can be achieved in about 142 feet. The 2500 actually carries the same brakes and stops from 60 miles an hour at around 148 feet. Overall length is 221.7 inches with a width of 79.8 inches and a height of 73.5 inches, riding on a 130-inch wheelbase. Total curb weight, as you see here, is around 5,678 pounds. So let's now take a closer look inside of the Avalanche. Overall, it is a very solid feeling interior, but the materials used have drastically improved over the years. While it is super comfortable and I am partial to this cockpit dash styling, there is a lot of plastic used throughout. Luckily, the important touch points across the doors are soft material coated. One other little downside is the fact that, as unique as the exterior is, the inside is pretty much the same carbon copy styling that you would find in a Suburban or a Silverado, Yukon, or a Sierra. I mean, every full-size GM SUV and pickup truck had this interior styling during the time, so there's nothing that really screams out, "Ooh, look at me, I'm an Avalanche," like the exterior does. The standard vehicles feature cloth upholstery with a bench seat configuration up front for seating up to 6. For that extra luxury touch, these leather vinyl-clad buckets could also be had that are also heated, with full power adjustment, lumbar, and 2-person memory for the driver, not to mention a full-length center console with a plentiful amount of storage space. The headrests adjust up and down, while the seat belts are actually built into the seat itself. As you come across the entry threshold, you see the unique Z71 rubber floor mats as well as the power-adjustable pedals. The steering wheel is manual tilting only, and off to the left-hand side you have your controls for your lighting, fog lamps, the bed lighting like I talked about earlier, and all of your 4-wheel drive controls. Finished off with an all-gray headliner, and I believe a full-power sunroof was also available. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. So we'll go ahead and shut her up. Now, in comparing the the Avalanche's ride quality and handling profiles, it's more similar to what you would find in a Suburban versus a Silverado, being that this shares the same chassis as the Suburban and Yukon XL, Escalade, ESV, and all those. So the ride is very smooth. It's quite a comfortable vehicle. These seats are as big enough as they can be lounge chairs, and you do have armrests up here for a little bit more support. You do have good lumbar support. So overall, I mean, it's a comfortable vehicle to travel in for sure. Whenever you hit harsh bumps, there's a little bit of a chassis quiver, which is pretty common to all these big full-size vehicles at the time. They've actually improved that a lot over the years. The recirculating ball power steering is actually smooth, very smooth. In fact, this is a very easy vehicle to drive around when you don't take into consideration the massive blind spots and the sheer size of the vehicle. But as far as movability down the road, it's just as easy as you would find in a typical car. But that being said, the biggest drawbacks to something of this size, at least with the Suburban, you have a lot of glass in the back. But the Avalanche, you do have a lot of glass back here. I mean, you can see clear across the back of all those covers back there, but you can't see where the rear end actually is sometimes. So backing up can be a little hard. You might want to use the touch and feel method when it comes to curbs in a parking lot. But it definitely takes a little getting used to. But what I really like about the Avalanche is the fact that it pretty much answers the problem that nobody knew was there, like how to make a truck comfortable but still keep the practicality. So you have the comfort of a full-size body-on-frame vehicle, but you also have the practicality of a pickup truck that, in the right configuration, when you take all the stuff out, can turn into a long bed pickup truck. So it's really like the best of both worlds, in my opinion. That's the reason I bought the thing in the first place. I mean, I like trucks, but I'm not a truck guy. It's not really something that I want to drive all the time. But this is something I drive all the time just because it is comfortable. It's relatively easy to maneuver, and you can lock up the cargo hold and all that kind of stuff. So if you have stuff you didn't want somebody to try to take out of your truck, you can just lock it on up and be on your way. Now, I'm 5'11", and just like the back seat, there's no problem with room at all up here. It's absolutely huge. You got a broad center console, you got plenty of storage space. Ergonomics are all right. I mean, all the steering wheel controls pretty much control everything you ever need to do except for the air conditioning controls, and you just got to lean up a little bit right here or mess with up here. So it's not too bad at all. All the four-wheel drive, lighting, windows, all that kind of stuff, it's all within really relatively easy access.
Now, there weren't a whole lot of extra goodies available for the Avalanche. Everything pretty much came standard except for a few convenience goodies. But one of the must-have options is the premium 6-speaker Bose audio system with a 6-disc in-dash CD changer.
Now, just like you'd expect from Bose, the sound system is nice and crisp, packs a punch, and definitely sounds great for 2003. Tweeters mounted in the bottom of the A-pillar, microphone for your hands-free telephone and OnStar, as well as soft cloth wrap visors with illuminated vanity mirrors, secondary sunshade up top, as well as a little extension here. Standard auto-dimming rearview mirror with outside temperature as well as compass, and your OnStar located right down below. And in the top stack here, you have a 3-position garage home link setup, as well as your reading lamps and a little bit of storage up top. Now, as far as your radio, it's pretty much your standard setup of GM in 2003. In-dash 6 CD changer, like I mentioned earlier, with your presets located here or your disc selection. Rewind and fast forward, random songs, repeating, loading, and ejecting the CD. Push here for your audio adjustments, and just twist left and right. And down below, changing between the different radio modes, AM, FM, CD, as well as auxiliary, speed compensated volume, song information, as well as your other radio settings, tune, seek, scan, as well as your power and volume button located up top. Right down below that is your electronic dual-zone automatic climate control system with temperature adjustment on each side, one-touch automatic, different zones, fan speed, recycling, AC, and front mirror defrost. Also, a little bit of storage beneath that vent there. As we continue down the center console, plentiful storage pockets, as well as 2 cup holders, 2 trays there, as well as a 12-volt power outlet, lighter, and an extra space for a power outlet if you didn't want to use the lighter. Storage tray in the middle, with a large center console that has some chain storage and a couple various cubbies. Now, I'm a real big fan of this generation GM styling. Now, while these vehicles never had the most stellar build quality, it definitely looks pretty cool, and like I said, it's pretty much shared with all GM full-size SUVs and trucks of this generation, so it looks like a truck, and it definitely feels rugged. The gauge cluster is pretty simple with your tachometer to the left, speedometer, and other various vehicle gauges such as your oil pressure, voltometer, vehicle temperature, as well as fuel. Now, as far as your steering wheel, your radio controls are located up top, as well as your hands-free button for your OnStar activation.
OnStar ready.
Help.
You can say OnStar, dial, call, redial, store, delete, directory, my number, security, virtual advisor, voice feedback, units, memo, cancel, or help. You can press the button at any time to exit voice mode. Goodbye.
Pretty simple to use. And in the bottom spokes is your driver information control. This is located right beneath the speedometer. Intermittent wipers and cruise control are located in the left-hand stalk. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The seat automatically goes back to allow for easy entry and exit. And we'll go ahead and check out the back seat. Just like you would find in a Chevrolet Tahoe, the back seat of the Avalanche is nice and spacious and provides a good amount of comfort for longer journeys, especially more so than you would find in a Silverado. Door panels feature similar styling with some modest padded material, carpeted portion down below. Now, I know something a lot of people are probably curious about is how to use the innovative midgate in the Avalanche. Well, first, you want to fold up the seats, just like you would if you were accessing the back seat in one of the SUVs. The back, there's no lever to pull, they automatically come down, and there's some cutouts in the bottom portion of the seat to allow clearance for the headrest. And the other side. The next thing that you're going to want to do is remove this rear glass. Now, it's not powered or anything like that, but it's held in by 2 clamps located up here. You're going to grab the little clamps, pinch them, and pull them down. The glass will automatically fall back towards you and be caught by this little stopper here. What you would then do is just put the little stopper in so you can let the glass come and just pull it out. Now, here is where it gets pretty cool. Once you have this glass partition out, you're going to want to affix it to the midsection here so when you fold it down, it's nice and secure. Just take the paint, and there's a couple grooves down below where you would fit it in so it's nice and tight down below. Push it up, and then turn these little locks on either side to hold it in place. There you go. Now, once everything is nice and secure, you're going to notice a little handle right here with arrows on it. You're going to twist that and then pull it to release the midgate all the way down. In order to unlock each panel, you'll see those 3 bars. Just pull them out. For each one, lift it up, and pull out. There's actually 2 sets that need to be undone for the 3rd partition. And there you go, practically transformed back into a pickup truck. There's also illumination, as well as cargo tie downs on each side. And if you look closely, each of the panels are numbered in case you get them out of place. 1, 2, and 3. And of course, to put the glass back in place, just unlock it. Put it back up into the grooves here, push it past the stop. It'll lock in place, and then just push these up. You're good to go. Not to mention, this one also has a rear DVD entertainment system. So we'll go ahead and hop on in the back, using the grip handles for entry and exit. running boards would make it a little bit easier. As far as initial impressions, I'd definitely say that it's pretty comfortable back here. The seats do have a nice amount of padding. I'd like a little bit of extra lower back support, but overall, not too bad at all. Good and cushy. If you need more headrest support, these are also adjustable by just raising them up. There's no button to push or anything like that. They just go up and down on your own, just to use a little bit of force. In the middle, there is a padded center console with 2 cup holders, as well as rear audio controls and 2 air vents. I'm around 5'11", and with a comfortable seating position for someone of my height in front of me, I probably have a good 5 inches or so of leg room, and maybe about 4.5 or so inches of headroom, roughly. So, let's go ahead and check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? Heated seat controls on the passenger door as well, as well as all the same power and lumbar settings that you would find on the driver's seat. Grip handle up top. The glove box is relatively modest, but does have illumination.
The Chevrolet Avalanche is one of the most flexible vehicles of the last decade. From comfort to utility, it's able to tackle any construction project before heading to dinner with the family. With the various interior configurations, suspension setups, and powertrains, the Avalanche can be adapted to anyone for anything.
Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at my 2003 Chevrolet Avalanche Z71. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.